Welcome everybody to Star Chaser Central, where we are fighting our insatiable need to play Sonic the Hedgehog to bring you all things Charles Hamilton. That's music, moments, and everything in between. I'm Stick Braxton.
And my name is Mike D. Jackson.
What's up, man? We're back for another episode, and I'm excited about this.
Oh, me too. This is going to be a real special one indeed. Another one that's a classic to most fans that are old to the series, people that just came into the series, just overall something that I feel that we're going to have a lot of fun with today.
For sure. Before we get into that, how you been? Catch us up on your life.
Since our last episode, so far so good, nothing crazy. Just working, staying out of trouble. Trying to also keep up with Charles. You know, he's still uploading us with new music, asking us about other music. So it's I'm hanging in there, but I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Getting down to that holiday season. So fun times, but expensive times are coming. But we're gonna get through it.
Oh yeah, man. Holiday season, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that. So we'll figure it out.
Yep. All jam packed in there. But today we are reviewing and re-listening to the iconic Charles Hamilton mixtape Sonic the Hamilton. Um, Released in 2008. I'm gonna let you handle all the story and facts.
All right. So real fun fact for Sonic the Hamilton #1. Um Now, believe it or not, Charles was actually on MTV. He got interviewed on MTV about this tape, and I actually saw this on TV. I was scrolling through either MTV Jams, MTV2. I can't remember which one, but this is like before I was very like familiar with who Charles was as a person. But I remember seeing some of this and just seeing the interview. I'm like, okay, never heard of this guy, but he's talking about Sonic. I like Sonic. I like video games. Um, Maybe like a couple months later, when I actually got in tune with Charles, I'm like, oh wait, I seen him on TV. This is the same guy.
Yeah.
So Charles was interviewed by MTV. They just asked him about how he feels about the tape. Why does he always sample Sonic? Why is he talking about video games and whatnot? And he kind of just had to, give people the rundown, saying, "Hey, I'm not crazy. I have my own philosophy with music. I feel like I'm Sonic the Hamilton, Sonic the Hedgehog. Um, his whole philosophy about being like loving the color pink and everything." Um, it was a quick, maybe like 5-minute video. Unfortunately, it's not on YouTube anymore. You can't find it anywhere. You know
Yeah.
how everyone says the internet is forever. In some cases, it's not. But
Yeah.
there were three songs that they asked him about, and I guess these were like maybe the top three songs, or maybe three big songs that he felt that like everyone should check out. Let me go through the track listing real quick, because um this tape is actually a pretty long tape.
Yeah.
Uh, so the three songs, I believe it was "Let Me Know," "Happy Ending," and "Swaggerless Swag," "Two Left Feet." But those are the three songs that I guess he wanted everyone to showcase the highs, lows, in the middle. But it was I wish there was some video that you guys could see, because it was very you get to see how Charles was in 2008, and there's not that many videos of him online anymore like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I vaguely remember the video, but I remember more so. Uh, he would play the audio clip from that video. I feel like in like different
yeah,
songs. Maybe was it MTV Cribs that song?
yeah,
Yeah.
MTV Cribs.
Yeah. So I remember a clip from the audio from that. But yeah, and he would play it on a lot of the Mev tapes from what I remember. But yeah, Sonic the Hamilton was, again, like I said before, one of the first tapes that I listened to. So definitely a special place in my heart. But we're here to determine if I still feel the same way about it or if things have changed. So this is gonna be a fun, review of the iconic tape.
I
So
can tell you this, from when I first heard it, I
yeah,
know like my mind was blown because I think this might have been like the official first tape I ever heard where I was like, oh, he's sampling Sonic. Oh, whoa, 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 what is this?
Yeah,
Compared to recently where I'm just like now it's like, oh man, it still feels the same with some of the songs I've heard. And then other songs I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just nostalgia. Maybe,
yeah,
you got the glasses on and thinking, oh, this is as great as I thought it was, and times have changed a bit. So
yeah. This will be interesting because I was just about to ask you that. It's, what was your first uh feeling or your first remarks about Todd Hamilton when you first listened to it?
all right. So back when I first heard the tape, I kind of like skimmed through it just like to see like what would catch my ear, what would, pop up at me. And just some of the names of the songs, I was just like, okay, some interesting names. I don't know what to go but first, but just the first sample I heard, I was like, oh man, just like he did this because I always wanted to find someone that could actually do that producer wise. Just say, okay, I'm gonna take this sonic beat and make it an actual like rap song, but it doesn't have that like kind of like corniness to it because a lot of times if you heard something like that back in the day, 2008, maybe 2009, maybe, um, you would hear someone sample a beat from a video game, but it just sounded like kind of like something that you would see on YouTube back in like 2006, where it's like, oh, I'll make a cheesy comedy song, and
Yeah,
none of these songs have like some type of comedic feel to it. It
right.
feels weird, real, it sounds real, and it just sounds good. And it makes you feel good, honestly, if you like it.
Yeah, I agree. I know what you mean by the old video game beats. You would type in oh Sonic type beat, and then you get like the Sonic song, but like with some drums behind it and looped up. And that was the extent of it. But he definitely does like different things. So you're getting like the sonic sounds in the back, but you're still getting some drum kits. You're still getting, some actual work put into the actual beat. So and
Yeah.
on top of that, like you said, it's not like it was. It's still about Sonic in a way, but it's not cringe or corny, if that makes sense.
Very much so, because this whole tape, he kind of like has to explain that, about how he feels like he's Sonic, but not in a cheesy way. Because of course, if you just take that out of context, even if I said it, hey, I'm Sonic the Hamilton, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm the Blue Blur, I'm the Hedgehog. Of course, you're gonna look at me crazy.
Right.
Maybe not you because we know who Charles is,
Yeah.
but anyone else would be like, okay, that makes no sense because you could be like, oh, I'm Mario. I'm one of the Mario brothers. You'd say, okay, this guy's crazy. This guy's weird, so but it doesn't feel like that. And just if you take your time to listen to this tape, you kind of get a better understanding of like what he means by it. So and his whole philosophy.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you what you thought the theme of the tape itself was. So for those who don't know, um, basically the tape is Charles wakes up as Sonic the Hedgehog. So he wakes up as Sonic, and the tape kind of goes through him. It's almost like the what do you call it? The stages of grief, kind of, sort of,
Yeah,
because like like it's denial and like anger, but then like acceptance by the end of it, right? And that's how the tape goes. It just kind of throws through everything, and you kind of get the sense of he's going through. You feel like you're in his mind, right? As the entire tape goes on. And what I took from it is waking up, finally waking up as the person that you've always said that you were, but then being kind of afraid to go outside and people denounce or like um, disagree or like not like who you are as a person. But by the end of it, you're like, you know what, people are gonna like me for me, and those who don't, I really don't care. And that's kind of the theme I got from the tape. So I was wondering what you got from it.
pretty much the same thing. And the thing that helps a lot is because and we don't really see this as much because number one, these days is there really a such thing as a mixtape? There really no such thing as a mixtape now. Even though Charles wouldn't call this a mixtape, he calls these projects. But regardless, whatever you want to call it, EP, LP project, you don't get skits, like he doesn't have like full blown skits, but like near the end of some of these songs or the beginning of them, he kind of narrates it for you and says, okay, like, in the beginning, he talks about, okay, I woke up and I'm Sonic now. What do I do? And then he kind of goes through, like you said, the thought process. Okay, what does Sonic do? Okay, he goes from one end of his zone to another end of his zone. Okay. Um, what do I do now? And then it's just like, am I really Sonic? Am I still in a dream? Do I need to pinch myself? And then him still dealing with his own issues as himself, as Charles. So it's just like it's a lot going on in his mind, and he's just trying to like work through it one day at a time, like anybody else. So regardless if he is actually Sonic, if he is Charles, whoever he is, um, he's a gifted person, he's a talented person, and he just wants to showcase what he has going on for everyone to see. So they could just say, you know what? Regardless what he wants to call himself, he is exactly who he says he is. But I enjoyed the whole process of it. I will say that.
Yeah. I feel like this one is I don't know if it's the best production. And when I mean best, I mean uh what I put up there with his top tier production wise. Not sure.
Hmm.
But it's definitely the most fun because if you're a Sonic fan, if you're into nostalgia, if you're a 90s kid, a lot of those sounds and those themes hit instantly when you hear them. So like you're already gonna give it a listen, even if maybe you never heard Charles or you never knew who he was before. Based off of the beats themselves, you're like, okay, let me give this a shot because it reminds me of a certain time, and I think that's one of my favorite things about the tape itself.
I agree with you because it's one of those things where I think because we're going from the first, pink lava lamp, and then we're going from an actual tape from the Hamiltonization process. Um, he was allowed to have a lot more fun with this because, the whole pink lava lamp that was supposed to be like, hey, like this is my debut to the world. This is what I want to put out to everyone and like let them know who I am. But
Mm,
with an actual project like Sonic the Hamilton, like we said, he actually sampled a lot of Sonic on here. Like you said, a lot of Sonic sounds, a lot of Sonic beats and instrumentation. It didn't have to be perfect. So sometimes having an unpolished sound is actually better because it's rough, it's rugged, and you don't have to necessarily apologize for that. It's like, hey, this is what it is. Take it or leave it. If you like it, cool. If you're more of a Mario guy or you're more of a someone else, you're not really one of those mascots. Like, yeah, you might not be feeling it as much, but it's still something that you have to like immerse yourself into because if you're kind of just like not really listening, looking around, you might not you'll miss a lot of stuff and you might not enjoy it as much as you should.
yeah, I feel like it's definitely one of those things where like if you have a standing knowledge of Sonic the Hedgehog, I feel like you will appreciate it more. Your appreciation will be higher. So yeah, I think any '90s Sonic type of fan definitely is this hits differently than it would just maybe a casual listener. But yeah, so let's get into Sonic the Hamilton, man. I went through the tape. Me, you both listened to the tape earlier today.
Yeah.
I took the liberty of kind of separating them into three different tiers. Uh, I had my great tier, which is I put those as like if they come on, I listen to it almost every time. The
Yeah.
good tier where it's like, oh, I haven't heard this in a while. Let me throw this on. This is pretty good too. And I had my tier where I'm like, this one isn't for me. Um,
Right.
so let's start with we'll start with the bad and the good first.
Let's start with the good. Always
Okay.
start with the good.
All right. So Charles gave three, so we're gonna give three. You want me to start? You want to start?
Um, I can start.
Okay.
I can start. All right. So first off, I want to give a shout out to DJ Ski because
Yeah.
with DJ Ski, he was on a lot of these tapes back then where he was promoting it. And of course, nowadays people are just like, who's DJ Ski or why is he on here? And
Yeah.
let's get it clear, man. No disrespect to DJ Ski or even someone like DJ Drama, because DJ Drama is Gangsta Grills,
Yeah.
and so many people get annoyed by the DJs being on this tape. But you have to understand, at this time, Charles was signed to Interscope, but he didn't have a buzz. Jimmy Iovine told him, hey, make these songs, make these projects, get your buzz out, do what you got to do. And of course, when DJ Skeet is up here and Charles wasn't up there yet, he's right here.
Mhm.
You got to do what you got to do. You got to get a DJ that's, that has a reputation
Yep.
and help you put yourself out there. And I think he did a great job with talking when he needed to and
Mhm.
not overdoing it because he's not on every song. You won't hear DJ Ski on every song. But
That's a good point
uh
that you just brought up though, because he's not, and he doesn't overstay his flow. You know what I'm saying? He kind of does like the intro. He might pop in the middle, and then he sends us off. But that's it.
yep,
He's not talking over every song. He's not yelling. It's just he'll throw his little tag on a couple of jumps every now and again. But that's it. And I do like the way he did that. That's a good point.
very yes, sir. So if I was going to do my three, okay, so man. I'm gonna start off with the heater. So where's my fucking Genesis? I had to start off with that one.
You wanna look at a loser? I'm not a get hit with a your face is like Gotham. Where's my fucking Genesis? I can't find my fucking Genesis. I wanna get my
Yeah.
I had to start off with that one because I remember when I first heard it and I was just like, this is what exactly I mean. I'm like, okay, he sampled one of my favorite songs from Sonic 2, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I had to do the I
Yeah.
kept replaying it, starting over. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, like it's the fact that he rapped on a Sonic beat. So it's for me one of my favorites. The fact that he went so hard on it. He he was spitting on there. He didn't have any like lazy bars on there. And it's one of those things that like I think it's the best of both worlds. Cause like I said, it's a whole thing about it's a Sonic beat. It's him rapping. He's going hard on the beat, and it's nothing cheesy about it. Like it doesn't feel like it's ha 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 funny. I get what he's doing. It's like no, it's just
Yeah.
what I would want anyone else to do on it. I don't want someone saying, oh, this is a video game type beat, so I can't rap on it. It's like no, I think anyone could have done well on it, but Charles did so much justice to Where's My Fucking Genesis. So that's going to be my number one. Um, Number two, I will say, Let Me Know. I will say Let Me Know is on there. Um, Another thing I have in common with Charles is that so he sampled Rihanna on this, and I used to have the biggest crush on Rihanna before I even knew who Charles was, and I'm like, okay, so this guy likes Sonic, he likes Rihanna, so what's up with this man? Like this guy, like, is he trying to take my life? Like,
Yeah.
jeez, like, but me and him having so much in common with that song. It's just like a smooth, chill song, kind of like you could ride in your car too. Just has a good vibe to it, so I really like that. Um, my last one, my third one. Mm, I'll say 10 minutes.
Okay.
10,
Yeah.
10 minutes. I'll say 10 minutes. That's another one where, like I said, it's a smooth beat, something you can ride in the car to. Just has a groove to it, And Charles is, I want to say he's synonymous for that because he likes to talk about how he's in the pocket of a song or he's in a certain groove of a song. Um, just the energy he brought on a lot of these songs, because with him, he was like 20, about to turn 21 and whatnot. And
Yeah.
you could just tell, like I said, he just enjoyed himself a lot when making a lot of these songs because he went from being someone that was homeless on the street to someone having $1 million deal and just being like, hey, man, I'm in the best position of my life. So those would be my three. Where's My Fucking Genesis, 10 minutes, and Let Me Know. And
Okay.
my three songs of being like, hey, if it comes on, I'm listening to it. I'm not skipping it.
For
Not
sure.
skipping it.
For sure. Yeah. Um, just I want to harp on some points you made as far as like him rapping over like these sonic beats. I think the word that we're looking for is like authentic. Like nothing feels forced. Nothing feels like, oh, I have to rap like this. Like I'm rapping like Sonic the Hedgehog. When he doesn't, he just rapping like Charles, who happens to like
Right.
Sonic the Hedgehog. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's an important piece of like his whole aura at the time is that it nothing ever felt forced. Like when he the things he said, I knew he believed. So that's fine. And I'm like, cool. that way I know that we're on the same page as far as how we feel about the music and his beliefs at the time. Um, yeah. So you definitely picked three of mine that were on here. I'm going to repeat one. I'll repeat 10 minutes because 10 minutes to me is like one of my favorite all-time favorite records because there's a lot of chorals that I kind of used to post on, college Facebook's like popular. So you would post like different things from like song lyrics or whatever. I was
Right.
like, yeah, I'm present in my what the fuck class. That was like one of my favorite things to post. Um, I always like to open. I love the phrase spend some time. Like all those different things are always fun. And the track itself is cool because like it's 10 minutes and it's basically that's the length of a sonic zone. So you can tell like each part of this is him going through zone. The point of Sonic is to get through the zone as fast as possible. Because you
Yep.
get 10 minutes, then it's over. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the equality of death in this situation. So yeah, 10 minutes is always, of course, it samples casino, you know what I'm saying? Casino zone or whatever.
Casino Night.
Yeah, casino like classic, iconic zone. Um, so yeah, I would definitely add that up there. Um, I I've always been a fan of Stir of Echoes or Sleeping Beauty.
Yesterday I walked around for miles, saw the silhouette of what I thought could be you.
Great sample of a often sampled band. God, now the Incubus.
Incubus. There you
Incubus.
go.
That's Echo is the song that he sampled. I've always liked that record. It's this very ghostly, kind of not whispery, but like soft, windish record. But like the stuff he does on it is really amazing. I love the lyrics. I love the message. Um, and again, I just the start of it. I said there's nothing wrong, and that's the battle that I'm talking about when it comes to the tape. It's like he's it's this inner turmoil because it's like there's nothing wrong. Everything that I believe, my beliefs are fine, but it's this constant. Maybe there is something wrong. If people are, what I'm saying, people have these things to say, maybe there's something is wrong. But it's just so dope how he conveys that through the music and throughout the tape or whatever. Um, to finish mine off, I'm gonna go fans are cool.
All right.
And I'll say this. When I first listened to the tape, fans are cool was not very high on my list. I was like, this beat is very interesting. It's very interesting. And I was like, I could probably do without it. I was like, oh, happy ending is the actual outro to this tape. In my mind, I'm like, I can skip this. But then, as I got older, I was like, let me listen to this again. And I'm like, oh no, this is a good record, and it's a fitting way to end the tape, right? Other than the tracks at the end, obviously, the little Sonic
Yeah.
episode thing. But fans are cool is dope too because this was like the first tape. I played it. I think it was early this year when I played it in the car with my son in the car, who's a big
Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog fan. Like maybe even more than me. He knows way more shit than I do about Sonic at this point. But when I played it, he's like, "Oh, what's that? Who was that?" And so like I get to share with him something I listened to like 15, 16 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So that was a cool experience. So like, yeah, fans are cool. Definitely rose up in my rankings for this tape just off of that. So yeah, those would be my three for sure.
All right. So I need to make a substitution. Substitution.
Yeah.
This is why I said like it was. So I'm taking 10 minutes out. I have to take 10 minutes out, and I have to put
Okay.
happy ending in. Happy ending.
Okay.
Happy ending is replacing 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's oh god. So I'm sticking with it. Final answer. I'm locking it in for real now. But it's one of those things because, like I said, those songs, a couple of these songs, they're like, if I had to pick three, I'm like, one of these is getting like pushed down, but
Yeah.
it's like so. Happy Ending. It's one of those things where, especially at this time when I was listening to Charles, a lot of those songs that were like the sad and melancholy songs, the ones that had the real emotion in it. Um, those are what I really liked, and then I hear them now, even though I might not be in that type of position, I still enjoy them. I still like them. One of the favorite quotes I have for a Happy Ending, because he said, basically just how problematic he knows he is. Like he knows that he's a loudmouth. He knows that he says things that's going to get him in trouble. But he always says, but that's why I never have problem beefing with the vets, So if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen because I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I think at that point of the tape, he's kind of at his point of saying, oh, well, regardless of whatever happens, if I continue to be Sonic, if I grow to be Supersonic, if I just go back to being Charles, um, I'm cool with it and I accept it. Good, bad, and different. So, but that's going to be my third one. But yeah, Happy Ending. I have to keep that in there. I have to. So
Yeah, I like that. I like that. We did this last time, so I wanted to keep this. I feel like this is going to be our segment, one of our segments on this
okay.
podcast. Is if you had to pick a lead, if this was a commercial album, you know, the label paid for all the samples because they would have to pay a hefty amount. What would you use as the lead single from this tape?
For me, and I'm assuming we're going with it doesn't matter how much the label has to pay, they're gonna pay, and it's getting cleared. I'm assuming we're going by
Yeah,
that because
yeah, for
because
sure.
because Interscope, they had a lot of money, but at the same time, if Sega they just said no, we don't want you using it, they're not using it.
Yeah.
I honestly, where's my fucking Genesis? I would say that just because how I think about it, one, not even because it's one of my favorite songs. I think it's just um the whole thing of him already saying, "Hey, this is me being Sonic the Hedgehog. My tape's called Sonic the Hamilton. I want to try and explain to y'all why I think I'm Sonic." I think that should be like the number one go-to. Hey, it's a song that samples Sonic. I'm talking about Sonic. It kind of like the all the points kind of like bounce back and forth off each other. So it's like, hey, I remember that song from Sonic 2.
Mhm.
This guy likes Sonic. Oh, guess what? I have other songs like that are similar
Yeah.
compared to like let's say a song that has maybe like a not as well known sample. I feel like you're not going to get as much of an audience. Like you're going to get some people, oh, I like this song, but I feel like the first people he needs to go for are the people that are more similar like him. The people
Yeah.
like me and you that are like, hey, I used to play Sonic when I was a kid. Probably at that time I wasn't playing it as much, but I remember all these facts about Sonic and this, and that. Like I think that's exactly where I would go for. Just like, hey, kind of similar to November 10th. I think about that when they made a video for November 10th and all that. That's my whole thought process. They had him playing Sonic in the background of the video and whatnot, and then
Yeah.
obviously the background of the song is Sonic 1. So it's just like basically that's my whole process. Like, hey, I felt like it worked pretty well with November 10th. So let's do the same thing. Let's go for round two and get more people to listen that are Sonic fans or video game fans, just people that because those fans are easy to connect with compared to like other hardcore like rap analysts. Like, oh, you did he use this structure format? Was this a actual freestyle? Did he really write this? So
Okay.
where's my fucking Genesis would be mine.
Okay. That's not a bad choice. I think that would be my second choice. And I like your reason. That's a great reason. I'm gonna take it a different route. I'm gonna take
Okay.
it. I'm gonna take it a similar route, but a different uh strategy. You say use a very familiar or recognizable sample, and I like that. I like that idea, and that's why
Right.
I say ringtone rap is the one to use
Okay.
because single ladies had people in a chokehold for a long time, and
Yep.
it's a very recognizable sound, very recognizable beat, recognizable song. And I think with the raps that Charles does there, and he's got a decent hook on there that's infectious enough that it'll get people talking. Like, oh, also you got to ask yourself, oh, why? Who is this guy that Beyonce cleared the sample for? So now you gotta look into it. Like, oh, well, let me check this out. Let me see what he's talking about. Now I think where we would run into a problem is that if we just put the single out and don't tell anybody what the album's coming out, and then we tell the album's coming out, it's gonna feel weird in context with the album. Like, oh, it's ringtone rap, but why are we talking about Sonic? You know what I'm saying? But I feel like enough of the sounds in the background will make it will make sense to people if they pay attention enough. So I think ringtone rap is probably would be my guess and my pick because I feel like it could reach a broader audience versus the niche audience of the video game.
Okay. I could see that. I probably would make that like a second or third choice, you know. If this with whatever single we went with, and they said, hey, what would be the next single or what would be
Yeah,
the third single? You know, I could definitely see that working as well too. Um, I'm not mad at that choice at all. Not mad at all. I like that. So
and so what would you say is the skip of the album if you have
actually, two things before we
one?
go to the skip of the album.
Yeah.
Um, just so y'all know, a lot of these songs on here are at least like 4 or 5 minutes long.
Good,
So make
great.
make sure you're gonna get comfortable when you listen to this project because I think the shortest song might be like 3 minutes and like 50 something seconds, but that's still long, especially if we're talking about in 2023. You know, nowadays songs you're lucky if you get to 3 minutes.
You're lucky if you get to
Also
2:30.
yeah, 2:30. But we've talked a lot about also one thing I want to say, we talked a lot about Sonic too. Well, Sonic as well. We talked a lot about Sonic because that's very prevalent. Um, do you have a favorite Sonic game like that you played before, or like maybe a favorite zone or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've always said that Sonic 2 is probably my favorite Sonic to play. I can pick that up and go at any time. Sonic Mania is probably my second favorite because they took Sonic 16-bit and did it even better. But
Right.
Sonic 2 is still my favorite, and I think my favorite zone from that is Hilltop Zone.
Okay.
I like Hilltop Zone just because I like the beat of it. It's
Yeah.
very got a nice little groove to it. And I like the mechanics of that level too. I think there's like you have to outrace something in that zone, and so yeah, I like Hilltop for sure.
I'd probably have to say the same thing, Sonic 2, just because when playing Sonic with my older brother, I was
Mhm.
always Tails, so that was my first time really getting to play Sonic. I played it like the first one a little bit, but you know, playing 2 and 3, I got to play as Tails, and my controller's actually plugged in, so I
Yeah,
actually get to play the game.
yeah,
But the sad thing is, so with me and my brother, because we were kids when we played it, um, we never got past the second stage. We never got past Chemical Plant.
yeah,
And I was just like, man, that's as far as we got. Chemical Plant. I
yeah,
got older. I'm like, you know what? Let me try this again and play by myself. I got to like the second to the last level, and I'm like, yo, what was up with my brother, man? Why could we never get past this? But
yeah,
by myself, I was fine. I was completely fine. But the thing is, y'all know, if Sonic dies, it's over. If
yeah.
Tails dies, he has to
Here,
have 10, 15 seconds to come
here.
back. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. But my favorite zone, I want to say ah it's going to be a toss up because me and my brother used to sit at Casino Night Zone and just like hit the pinball stage part, whatever. And we're just like, we would almost like run out of time because we would just play around on that part of the
Yeah,
stage.
yeah,
Um, that and Mystic Cave is between those two. But I'll say, I think I have more memories with Casino Night. So I'd say Casino Night, my favorite. So
solid. That's a great pick. I feel like that's a lot of people's again one of the most iconic stages you can not be Green Hill or Emerald. You know what I mean?
yeah.
For
So
sure. Um,
Skips though. We want to go with the skips
yeah,
now?
yeah. I had three potential ones, but I'm gonna wait to hear what yours is.
Okay.
And if you pick the one that I pick, if you pick
We're
one
probably
here, I'll just pick a different.
okay. We're probably gonna either pick the same one or we're gonna pick anyway. We're gonna probably pick. What we're gonna either do is pick the same one,
Yeah,
or you're gonna pick the other one that I'm gonna pick.
yeah.
So,
Uh-huh.
my skip is gonna be the last song, Captain Slave a Hedgehog. That's gonna be my skip.
Before we do that, though, I feel like those shouldn't count. I feel like
Shouldn't
Captain
count.
Flavor Hedgehog and 11:11 again shouldn't count though.
All right,
They're
all
not
right.
really.
So
It's
that's what I
like
wanted.
yeah, they're not really songs. Like we shouldn't pick those. We should pick actual ones where he's actually rapping. That's because that's
Okay.
crazy.
All right, so look, because that I was thinking about that. 'Cause I'm like, man, should I count those? I'm like, they're on the project,
They are.
but literally, there's no talking. At least this is what I will say with 11:11 again. Um, at least it's a beat that's just like an instrumental, even though there's no rapping. I'm like, I would have loved to hear some rapping, but
I said that
uh,
too when I listened today. I was like, ooh, I wish he would have rapped on that.
yeah. So all right, so we're not going to count 11:11 again, not counting Captain Slave a Hedgehog. All right,
Yep.
fine. That's completely fine. All right, so. If I had to pick one, mm, um, I think it would be Baby Sonic. I could do without Baby Sonic.
Uh-huh. Yep. It's. That's so he usually does well with like good rock samples, right? But
Yeah,
the problem with some of them are is sometimes it's just loud and like I can't hear his rapping. And that kind
yeah,
of bothers me. But just overall, it's not one of my favorite tracks. And then that baby crying at the end. Oh my god, oh god, it's so bad. It's so I that's one of the ones where I'm like, I could probably do without that.
yeah.
However,
Okay,
pick that one. So I'm gonna pick a different.
okay.
I had two more. Put your cash up is gonna go off to the side. It was on my list because I was like,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I was just like, I listened to it today, and I was like, I listened to it twice in the last 48 hours, and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay, but I'm like, do I really want to listen to it? Not necessarily. And it's crazy because like later on, like after like the Mev is over and like Show and them are doing their own thing, Show became one of
Yeah,
my rappers. I like Show. Like Show was a rapper. Like as he got older and whatever, he got real nice, like super nice. But here's just
yeah.
like first look at, and the talking at the end was a bit much. But my other one is one that Charles said that we should listen to, and that's Swaggerless Swag.
Okay,
Again, it's one of those things where like I would listen to it if it came on, but if you're giving me the option, I am going to press skip. Funny story about Swaggerless Swag is I saw the title. I was like, that's kind of a cool thing because swaggerless. You don't hear anybody say they don't have swag. I never heard somebody called swaggerless. So I had a teammate who, for a good 2 to 3 years in college, his nickname was swaggerless for me. So I didn't call me. I was like, yo, swaggerless. Yo, come, yo, let me holler at you real quick. Because and it wasn't even like he didn't have swag, because he did. He pulled a lot of girls, bro. It was crazy.
right.
However, I was like, how are you doing this? He was just pulling it off. I was like, that's that swaggerless swag. I can't hate on it. It works, but
Yeah.
I could do it. I could do it up the track, honestly.
Okay, I get you on that. I will say this. I can't speak for your for your boy, but I think it's all about confidence because um Charles always talks about like Sonic and all this other stuff that people would consider like lame or corny, but
Sure.
he has always been cocky and arrogant and confident in himself, and sometimes that's all you really need. Is there's so many people that are so down on themselves. It's like um you got to shoot your shot, and if you miss it, you miss it. Oh well, but if you make it, hey, you make it.
Yeah.
real quick, because you talked about put your cash up. Shout out to Show Two Fly, because I like him as well. I like his style, him and Nate. But I think probably the issue with put your cash up is because okay, so you had 10 minutes right here where they did Casino Night,
Yeah.
and then right after you have put your cash up where they sample Casino Night again, but it's like I think it's like the two-player version of the instrumental,
Yeah, I
but
see.
it's Casino Night again and again. It's one of those things where if you're a Sonic fan, it's like, oh, hey, they did the other version of it. They flipped it. Okay, they flipped it with another flip of it. Cool. And they made a different song of it, but uh like we said, these songs are like almost 4 or 5 minutes long. So at a certain point, you could be like, man, I just went through, listened to this song again, kinda. So
Mhm.
I could see that. I do like Put Your Cash Up, but I could see fatigue coming that way. I could see why someone could say like, it's not that it's bad, but it's like, I could do without it. I could skip it if it had it come to it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, okay. Um, one more point about just Charles itself. Charles addresses something on the tape. One of his biggest criticisms, I remember during that time, was everybody sounds like he's not trying, or he sounds lazy. And I forgot what track he says it on. It's like he basically says, "No, it's not that I'm not lazy. I'm not trying. It just sounds so effortless when I do it. Like I could do this in my sleep. So it's like that's why it sounds like lazy to you, but to me, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? So like I think that's something that kind of followed him for like a long time. Where it's like, oh, it sounds like he's lethargic or he's tired or like, but this is just how he raps, bro. This is regular thing.
Yeah. I think it's a couple criticisms that he would have. Like I know, like let's say for example on Swaggerless Swag, he kind of has that like I just woke up out of bed, so I
Mm,
just yawn and I'm gonna like. It sounds like he's reading off the paper, like yeah. Like I get that, but I think for that song at least, it's called Swaggerless Swag, so it's supposed to be like that. And there's some other songs where it's like that. That's kind of the point. But then other criticisms he has when he sings on some of the hooks and whatnot. Oh, why does he sound like? People say that he sounds like he's whining. Like I've heard that before. Like he sounds like he's whining when he's rapping. He's whining when he sings sometimes. Oh, he doesn't sound into it. Like he's just like reading it. So. Um, but at the end of the day, you could kind of say that about like a lot of people. Like, I've heard that people just don't like his voice. They say, "Oh, he can rap, but I just don't like his voice." And you could name any other artist. You could say, "Oh, I don't like their voice either." Doesn't mean it's a bad song or they can't rap or sing. So,
yeah,
I take that type of stuff with like a grain of salt. If he sounded like he was like just lazy or lethargic on every song, then I'd be like, all right, well, he might be like some new guy. Like if we listened to this back in 2008, he sounds like that in every song. All right, well, he's like an industry plan or something like that. Someone that's just learning the ropes of it. But
yeah,
he shows a lot of versatility in a lot of these songs. Like I said, some songs are the happy songs, some are the cocky songs, some songs are the vulnerable songs, the insecure songs. So for someone that feels that type of way about him, I'm like, hey, you might be giving them a unfair shake at the stick. You know what I mean? Pause and no pun intended. But
right, yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that 100%. Um, so after listening to it in 2023, how you feel about it today versus how you felt about it before?
all right. When I first heard this project, like I said, just like hearing the sonic samples, hearing just how he incorporated his own style with just how he wanted to tell his story, I was like, oh man, this guy's crazy. But now in 2023, where he's dropped so many other type of projects, shown so much more versatility, and like we said, we're not counting 1111 again, and we're not counting the last song.
Mm,
um, it's one of those things where I still really like the project,
mm,
but I will say I feel like with certain songs there is much to be left that desired, I guess, because there's certain songs I'm like, this I remember really liking this when I first heard it. Now I'm like, it's okay. So
Yeah,
there's a good half of the project where I'm like, I'm still loving it, still listening to it, not
yeah,
skipping it. And then there's like maybe another half, maybe a couple songs where I'm like, it's okay.
yeah.
It's good, but just good. It's good.
Yeah. Um,
What about yourself?
I still think it's iconic. I still think it's one of those ones where it's like if you ask like a fan of Charles Hamilton, name like the five most iconic Charles Hamilton tapes, I feel like this one comes up often.
Yeah,
Like you're that's going to be one of the first five they name. That's just what it is because it kind of it's so much. It encapsulates what he was and what he is still kind of today, right?
yeah.
Um, so I feel like it's still super iconic, one of the most iconic tapes you can listen to by Charles Hamilton. Um, and I still think there's some heat here. There's a lot of good heat here. Like I said, in my great category, I would say I would just call it my A category, I guess, or what you want to call it. I
Right.
had I had one, two, three, four, five, six songs on there. I had another four in the good, and then three in the A category. So if they shave it to 10 songs, I'd probably have it just slightly a bit, rated a little bit higher. But as is, I
Right.
still think it's a really good tape. I think it's one of those ones where, you know, again, it's one of the ones I feel like a Star Chaser probably needs to go look at, go listen to, just to say they experienced it, and then find a song that you like off there and keep them because, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff on here that and it's just the nostalgia is important and is huge for this tape. So yeah, um, we still don't have like a real rating system, but I did have an idea. I have an
Okay.
idea, but I'm gonna throw it out here today, and then we'll tinker with it until we eventually get it right.
Okay. All right.
So I feel like we should rate these using like Sonic in some way, right? So for like the best of the best is absolutely probably Supersonic, right? This is
Okay.
a Sonic tape. And then for like if let's say your good tapes, your this is solid. You can do like your classic Sonic or base Sonic, right?
Right.
Some of the ones where you're like, okay, this is for a very specific Star Chaser. Go get this if you're really into this type of vibe. We can call that, Sonic the Werehog, right? There's different ways we can kind of like play with this. Um,
Okay.
so today I would probably call this one. I would call this a base Sonic. Yeah, it's like a base Sonic tape.
All right. With everything that I've said, it's going to sound maybe controversial. It might sound like I'm condescending, but or maybe just but I think with a lot of songs that I really like, that I think a lot of people would really like,
Mm,
um I think the good outweighs the a
sure,
lot more, to the
sure.
point where I'm going to edge it out and say supersonic. It's one of those things where like it just got to supersonic. It's one of those things where like he just got the seventh chaos emerald. He
Yeah,
just got it by like the skin of his teeth, because it
yeah.
was just like I said, the really great songs that you said, you got to listen to them, keep them, because you're going to go back and listen to these. You're going to go back and listen to these. And even with some of the songs that you're going to be like, okay, well, that one's all right. That one's okay. I feel
Mhm,
like this tape is still strong enough to still get it like a supersonic rating. Because like I said, there's so many other tapes, and there's tapes that Charles has where like they'll be baseline really good,
mhm,
just baseline really good, but like this will top a lot of them, believe it or not. You might say, hey, I really like seven of the songs on this tape, but they're a strong seven. They're a strong seven that like they're going to be in my top 20 or my top 40, or whatever you want to, have your ranking or listing. I'm gonna give it a supersonic rating. So I know, like I said, it might have seemed like I was bashing on it, but at the same time, like I said, just there's the really good, and then there's some all right ones, but it's just it kind of hurts because, like we said, the last two songs we're not really counting because one's an instrumental and then one's not really instrumental. It is, but then there's just like a episode of like Sonic in the background or something like that. So it's like I think that's just what really hurts it. But if I'm not counting those, I think that's what kind of boosts it up a little bit for me. So for me personally, I'll say Supersonic.
Okay. And we'll what's called once we kind of get like a ranking of like where we had today, and we'll add different characters. We'll have like rare ones like, oh, this is a hypersonic. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to rate it properly. And maybe we'll keep
Okay.
like a little board, like a message board where we have the rankings and have what we had before.
Right.
But I enjoyed this talk about Sonic and Hamilton, man. Like I said, iconic tape, definitely something that the Star Chasers need to go listen to. Um, be sure to follow us on our individual pages where we'll be posting, you know, posting the episode, posting certain clips on here. I'm at Stick Around 54 on Instagram. That's STIK around 54. Mike, where you at?
All right. So on Instagram, I'm on the Mike Jackson, THE Mike Jackson. On Twitter, because I'm not calling it X, and I'm gonna keep telling y'all that. Mike D Jackson, Mike Jackson. You can follow me, hit me up, because I'm one of those people where we can talk about Sonic as well. Even if you don't know what to ask or you don't know what to say, just I'm ready and willing to talk about Charles and Sonic and music and everything. So don't be afraid to feel like you can't reach out to us. So we're very friendly people, I like to say.
Yeah, and be sure to send us the tape that you want us to listen to. Send us a song you want us to dissect. We're looking to do as many different type of things and episodes about all things Charles. So just hit us up and we'll try to get that in. We'll try to base an episode around certain things, or maybe do like a grab bag one day, just like, oh, we're answering questions from Star Chasers, and that's the episode. So we're looking for as much engagement as possible. So we're excited about this journey, man. Um, but this is Stick and Mike, and we are signing off Star Chaser Central, where we encourage you to chase your dreams
And reach for the stars.